verse 3. But I would have you know that the head of every man is Christ.
Right.
And the head of the woman is the man.
So it's giving you a little bit of an order, right? You could think about it. So Christ, man, woman.
And the head of Christ is God.
And the head of Christ is God. So God, Christ, man, woman.
Every man praying or prophesying.
Every man reading this Bible. Every man learning this Bible. Every man teaching this Bible.
Having his head covered dishonoreth his head.
So you wearing that hat dishonoreth Christ right now. That's what you're doing. So you wearing that hat dishonoreth Christ right now. That's what you're doing. You telling me that the San Francisco 49ers is better than Christ.
God damn it! You can't make this shit up.
So you wearing that hat dishonoreth Christ right now.
He said if your head covered while praying and prophecy coming out, to uncover your head. If you love Christ, if you love the Father, you will uncover your head. Right now you dishonor the Father with the spirit of prophecy. Listen to this, read.
1 Corinthians chapter 14 verse 37. If any man think himself to be a prophet or spiritual.
Do you think you're a spiritual man? Do you think you're spiritual? You don't think you're spiritual. You think you're a prophet? Huh? You think you're a priest? A priest? Okay, you think you're spiritual then, read.
Let him acknowledge that the things that I write unto you,
Paul said the things that I write unto you, read,
are the commandments of the Lord.
He said they're the commandments of the Lord. So go right back to the 1 Corinthians 11 and 3. Because right now you're showing the spirit of rebellion. Since you came up with everything I read, what I read from.
The Bible just said don't have your head covered in the midst of this Bible. We appreciate you staying here, but we're really hoping you snatch that hat off for a minute, bro. It's not gonna kill you. Being on the bottom of society, you got your chance to start right now by uncovering your head. Let's go to the side. Give me Exodus 35.
Bring it
Right
out.
now, you got a chance to snatch your hat. That's it. Listen, I know you got a cold, but let me ask you something. Is keeping that hat on right now gonna keep that cold on?
Yeah, I got to ready to go.
You gotta be ready to go, right? But you gotta hear this word too, because I'm gonna tell you something. You know who gave you that cold? The seed for your own. That's called judgment. Is keeping that hat on right now gonna keep that clothes on?
Yeah, I got to ready to go.
You gotta be ready to go, right? But you gotta hear this word too, because I'm gonna tell you something. You know who gave you that clothes? The seed for your own. That's called judgment. You ain't got no fringes on, do you?
What?
Fringes. You got no fringes? You know what that is? Alright, Numbers 15:30. You ain't got no fringes on, do you?
What?
Fringes. You got no fringes? You know what that is? Alright, Numbers 15:30. And do them, Damien. We have commandments that we must do. Come on. After our own minds. You know what our own mind tell us right now? Man, I can't take this hat off, bro. I got a cold. I've been sneezing, my nose running out my left nostril. I can't take. That's what our mind tell us. After our own minds. You know what our own mind tell us right now? Man, I can't take this hat off, bro. I got a cold.
I want to give all the praises and the honor to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Recha HaKodash, and double honors to the elder apostles and the elder bishops of Great Millstone. Honors as well to you, brethren, all you fellow believers of the faith and supporters of the truth, including you sisters, and shalom to the elect. Anyway, I want to touch on this video. It's kind of a double response. One off of Elder Apostle Tahar's page, titled, it says, where their worm dieth not and the fire is not quenched is not hell. Iuic, because they teach the hell doctrine. And there's some things that the Iuic said, and Elder Apostle Gabar did a response as well about forcing the law down, these Jake's throats. So anyway, it seems as though the IUIC power-hungry hat doctors, right, is trying to force the law, force the cause, so to speak, without trusting in Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai. These guys, that's why they get on planes, okay, and they fly in other countries. West Africa, by the way. I don't know if they fly in East Africa or to Russia or everywhere else, because that's where the Israelites are as well. So I don't know how that's going to work out. But this is what they do. And these are the Matthew 23 Israelites. I used to do videos on these guys a while back, and when I was reading Matthew 23, I mean, it just sounds like the IUIC, okay? Let me read that real quick, and then we're going to jump into it a little bit more. It says, Then spake Yahushua to the multitude and to his disciples, saying, The scribes and the Pharisees sit in Moses' seat. All therefore whatsoever they do, they bid you observe. That observe and do, but do not after their works, for they say and do not. Right? So these particular Israelites, they're all about works, so to speak. And this is when you keep reading. Let me go on down and let me keep reading, and it'll clear itself out. For they bind heavy burdens on the grievous to be borne, and lay them on men's shoulders, but they themselves will not move them with one of their own fingers. Right? So going into the history of the IUIC, the debt, right, the criminal activity, all the things that's happened, and the bishops just break off and let people fall, right? Now they're out there telling people to take off their hats. The guy has like a flu or cold, and if he takes off his hat and gets sick and wind up in a hospital, right, which we know the Lord would do, but his thing is to be not to be over righteous, right? But if he gets sick, they're not going to lift a finger to help this man if he gets even sicker. He puts on a hat to come up and get and hear the word. Now, at that point, you got to let Yahweh, through the spirit of Yahweh and Yahushua, then manifest through this man in order for him to wake up. That's the problem with these guys. That's why Paul said Apollos has watered, but Yahweh gives the increase. These guys are trying to give the increase without the Lord. It says, but all their works they do for to be seen of men. They make broad their phylacteries and enlarge their borders of their garments. This is why they got the extra purple, the extra gold, all of them in matching garments. They literally, when you do the commentary or you really read into this, they literally made bigger phylacteries, right? They go around their wrists. I don't know why they don't have the phylacteries, right? And it was garments to the foot, right? And they made them bigger. They had bigger garments, So what they did is they did extra to try to win the people. And it was really about to be seen, and it was really about money. The more people they got, the more they can get the money, the tax write-offs. It's the same thing happening today. They're doing the same damn thing. That's why he said, you surpass sea and land to make a proselyte, but you send them basically to hell. That's what these guys are doing. They're so-called waking people up, but they're waking people up to destruction. And then they're putting fear on them and saying, if you don't, you're going to burn in hell forever. Your grandma, or your grandpa, your grandma, your children, they're all going to be burning in hell while you in the kingdom forever. How is that even a blessing towards you? You have loved ones. How the heck is that a blessing? The Lord going to put that kind of burden on us in the kingdom of heaven? And this doesn't make no sense. This ain't nothing but a Christian church. You can read all of this, and it breaks it all down. Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for ye make clean the outside of the cup and the platter, but within are full of extortion and excess, leftovers. Right? Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites. Now, when you go into the word hypocrite, it actually means liars. They're fakers. This man standing up here keep trying to convince this man to take off his hat instead of teaching the word. It's other people that want to hear. Now, when you go into the scriptures and it says, we'll get into that too. It says right here, woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for ye are like unto whited sepulchres, right? The above tomb, so to speak, which indeed appear beautiful outward, but are within full of dead men's bones and all uncleanness, right? So we're going to get now you can read all of this and it will show that. And then we're also going to get an example of what Yahushua did to those Pharisees, and they had an issue with that as well. But we're going to read what he quoted, 1 Corinthians 11. What was it? 8? Not 8. Is it 3? 4. Every man that praying or prophesied. So that's the key. Praying or prophesying. See how they threw it in there? That the men on the outside was not praying and prophesying. Where did he get that at? But you know what they said? They said as long as we're prophesying, the Bible is open. So that means everybody around them must have their hats off. So now, if they don't have a beard, what are you going to tell them? Buy a stick-on beard? Right? Because they don't got a beard? What are you going to do then? If they don't have fringes, this man talking about fringes. I mean, when you apply these type of laws, and all of us knew, if we all knew we was Israelites, we was all in ancient Israel, we knew we was Israelites, then you can even make that argument. But there's people who don't know. And that's why they wanted to hurt Paul, man. Anyway, because you had those Pharisees, that's what they was all about. So it says praying or prophesying. But then when you go on down, the scripture says, does not even nature teach you that if a man have long hair, it is a shame unto him. So it's kind of like they got that long hair and they got a head covering. That's why you can't have that long hair. Now, some of you might not say that, but according to not having confusion, if you're a man and woman and y'all like block up the street and y'all both wearing a loose garment, how do you supposed to be able to determine the two? That just brings confusion, man. And that's all it is. So let's get the example with John. John 9. It says, and Yahushua passed by and saw a man which was blind from his birth. And the disciples asked him, saying, Master, who did sin, this man or his parents, that was born blind? This is going to reincarnation as well. Yahushua answered, neither was this man sinned, nor his parents. So now you got to understand reincarnation. Because why would they even ask if this man born blind, who did sin? He was born blind. So this is something that he's speaking of, pre-birth. But anyway, let's get to the point. That the works shall be manifest in him. Right? And it says, as long as I am in the world, I am the light of the world. When he had spoken, he spat on the ground and made clay of the spittle, and he anointed the eyes of the blind man with the clay. And this is what the Christian church is doing. They're spitting in their hands and rubbing people's faces. I don't know. Some weird stuff, especially in the Christian church. And he said unto him, go wash in the pool of Siloam, which is the interpretation sent. He went his way therefore and washed and came seeing. The neighbors therefore and they which before him, seeing him that he was blind, said, is not this he that sat and begged? Some said, and this we seen the same situation at the pool of Bethesda when he did the same thing. I'm going to just get to the point. Therefore they say unto him, how were thine eyes open? He answered and said, a man that is called Yahushua, says Jesus, made clay, anointed mine eyes, and said unto me, go to the pool of Siloam, or means sent, and wash. And I went and washed, and I received sight. Then said they unto him, where is he? So when you go on down, it says, they brought to the Pharisees him that aforetime was blind. And it was the Sabbath day when Yahushua made the clay and opened his eyes. So as you can see where this is going, it was on the Sabbath day, and it was against the tradition of the Jews to do any kind of work on the Sabbath day. See, the whole point we're going to make in this video is at the end of the day, our people have gotten away from what the laws was all about, right? And they got hung up on the money, right? On the popularity and to be seen. And this is the same thing you see with this group. Nate is worth $150 million. The rich man shall hardly enter into the kingdom of heaven, but they set him up. Okay? And then everybody just blindly follows. You can see it's a script. They're not doing any research on this. They got precept packages. Anyway, and it was the Sabbath day when Yahushua made the clay and opened his eyes. Then again, the Pharisees also asked him, how is he received sight? He said unto them, he put clay upon mine eyes, and I washed, and do see. Therefore, some of the Pharisees, this man is not of God, because he keepeth not the Sabbath day. That's what they said. Others said, how can a man that is a sinner do such miracles? So now you had people, it was a contradiction, whatever you want to call it, going on. They said, this man worked miracles. How is he a sinner? He got this man to see. And there was a division among them. And this is where you had some of them say, this man is a devil. He's doing these miracles to trick you. This is what they're doing. And this is where they have the problem. And you see the same thing happen today with the Israelite groups. We're going to tell you like it is. And when we're telling you that, okay, we know the law is not to pray or prophesy with your head covered. We know the law is when you go out and teach, you must have fringes. But we're telling people contrary that doesn't know the law, right, who is still learning what's going on. Now we're going to go to Romans 3 and 19. This is the whole point Yahushua came, right? This is why the Christians say he came to fulfill the law. The law has been fulfilled. Well, first of all, the law is fulfilled in Hebrews 8. Why the Lord said he's going to write his laws in our heart. But this group, Iuic, see, they teach that Rosicrucian doctrine that we're in the new covenant. So basically the laws is fulfilled, so we got to follow it. But Hebrews 8 says, the whole house of Israel shall know me from the least to the greatest, and not teach every man their neighbor. Again, it's not making sense. Hebrews 8 and Romans 3 and 20. But now righteousness of God is without the law is manifested, being witnessed by the law and the prophets, even the righteousness of God, which is faith of Yahushua. And that's why Yahushua did those miracles, to bring us back through faith and not just the practicing of the law, right? Yahushua came to bridge us back through the law, through faith, because there's no way you can keep that law perfect. And they'll teach you that. They'll teach you can keep it perfect. But on the Sabbath day, they won't cut off their hot water heater, right? If they have heat in the house, they won't cut it off. But then that's when they'll say they're covered by the blood of Jesus. Well, how make that make sense? You either are or you're not. You either going to follow it or you're not. Anyway, for all have sinned and come short of the glory, right? We can never make up what we've done, especially in the past lives. Being justified freely by his grace through the redemption in Yahushua. I'm going to get to the point. Verse 27, where is boasting then, with the question mark? And that's what the Pharisees did. You had men like the bishops and of Iuic, and those men, they are boasting in the law. It is excluded by the law of works, nay, but by the law of faith. And this is what they don't push. They claim it's about faith, But they have no faith. This is why they're flying all over the world or certain particular countries where the Israelites at. Instead of trusting in the Lord through the Spirit, all you have to do is go to the highways and hedges and teach. So now if you're going to go that route, now you got to go into Russia, right? Now you got to go in various other indigenous parts of the planet. And now you got to go try to wake them up. So you mean to tell me you only care about people in West Africa? What about East Africa? Now you need to go to Sudan. And you got to wake them up. Hey, are people amongst them too? Nah, I won't do that. And in this group, you won't see anybody damn near look white in there. So now you got to go to Australia too. You got to go to various other places and wake the people up. That's why you know they're hypocrites and liars. Right? Let me go on down. It says, do we then make void the law through faith? God forbid. Yea, we establish the law. And we still establish the law. But the bottom line in the video is that's why they had hurt for Paul. Because Paul was doing things or saying things contrary through guile to try to get them and hook them first. Just like the 12 tribes chart that people are against. To try to hook them. And then once they get it, can you imagine myself? I woke up to the truth. I woke up by seeing that white image of Jesus, right? And I said, that can't be true. So I did further research. And can you imagine me coming up to a group and I don't have no beard and I got a hat on my head and they're telling me you got to get a beard and you got to put a hat on your head. So if these guys are all about the law and you can keep it, then that means if you got to take the hat off, if they don't have a beard, you got to dismiss them with the beard too. You got to make it make sense. You either for it or you against it. But that's what these guys do. They putting burdens on people, right? And there's no need to do that. First they get it, and if they get it, the Spirit of the Lord, remember the scripture says the kingdom of heaven starts within you. The Lord didn't need us to sacrifice, right? He really didn't need us to do that. There's a lot of things in the law that he didn't need us to do. Of course, the moral laws we got to do. But the sacrifices and the blood in the temples and all these things we were doing, he didn't need us to do that. And this is what Yahushua for. Yahushua was the sacrificial lamb. So there's things that is covered. If this man is the elect, he's covered by Yahushua. If he's the elect. And then he will get it. Because it's in him. It's not so much the hat. It's in him. According to the law, we prophesy without our heads covered. That's because that's what the Lord said to do, representing, being able to receive the message. But at the end of the day, it's all about the Spirit. And the Lord didn't need us to do that. But that's a tradition that we do because the Lord set it up, recognizing having our crown uncovered, for receiving the message. But the Spirit is within you. And that's how you learn. That's how it opens up. Then once you learn, then you know to take the hat off while praying and prophesying by the way. That's all I have on that.